Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this Tezhib painting that I did. This was my first ever painting Tezhib, and this is not my design. I got this design from this Islamic floral patterns coloring book, and the author. And so here's the picture that I traced. Oh, it doesn't have the name of the author, but it's got some really nice designs. It's a coloring book actually, but you know, look at that, it's got some really nice designs on it. So I did this on, and I wanted to talk about what I learned from doing this for my first time, and it was also my very first time using gouache and gold gouache as well. So let's get started. So first things first, I did this on cold press watercolor paper, and I used this Canson watercolor paper. So generally, so cold press is more rough, hot press is smoother, and generally gouache in these Tezhib paintings, from what I've studied, are usually done on hot pressed paper, but I didn't have hot pressed at that time. So when I was doing this, and I'm just trying out new tricks, and I was just learning, so that's why I just used what I had. Okay. So the first thing is when I got this book, and then you can see I traced. So I had this tracing paper, so I traced it over it, and you really have to tape this down when you trace it, and especially when you transfer the design. So you trace it, and I realized I didn't have, so I was using a mechanical pencil because these lines are supposed to be really thin, but I did have like a HB lead, but I needed something softer, this is just regular lead. I needed something softer, but the softer one I had was very thick lead. It was like 1 millimeter or even thicker than that. But again, I just worked with what I had, which is why my lines are so thick on here. So anyways, so I traced it on here, and you can see I colored it in just because I wanted to play around with the colors before I actually transfer it, So I wanted to see what the colors would look like. Just try it out, basically. And then, so you take this, flip it over, you again tape it down, and I used a eraser, actually just used this eraser, and just pressed and to get as much ink as I could, or graphite as I could, to transfer onto there. However, while this was okay, I think for next time what I would do is get some carbon copy paper and try it that way and see if I could get a better result, and maybe even a thinner line, although I am using gouache, so it does rub it, it does, I don't need to use an eraser, it is opaque, so it does disappear easily. Like I said, I don't need to go into it with an eraser, excuse me. So the other thing was that I learned was, so I bought, they're usually done with very thin brushes, okay? These paintings, if I can open this, there you go. So I bought this Winsor & Newton 30 brush. You can see that series 7 is the sable brushes, okay? Let me see if it'll focus. There you go. And you can see the point, but it wasn't as fine as I would have liked it to be when I was doing this, especially the outline. Okay, eventually I did get frustrated, and I used this Tombow mono drawing pen, the 0.1, although to be honest, this is not very fine. I feel like I have like a regular ballpoint pen that's finer than this, and that one's like, it says 0.5 on it. So anyways, but it is black. However, I'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, let me show you this right now. So I did some practice a little practice, okay? And I was playing around with the Tombow pen, okay? And it has some more brushes, so it's in here. So I have some more. I did. Oops, right here. I did get some more brushes, and these are natural bristle brushes. Okay. I got. So I compared the pen to this 2-0 brush that I got. You can see how thin I think I can get the lines. Then the 5-0, so I can get the 5-0 pretty thin, but still it's difficult to work with, but doable, you know. And then I have a 12-0, but although 12-0 brush, although this one is synthetic. And the problem with the synthetic one is I can get a thin line, but it doesn't hold water very well. You see, it just kind of fades. See this? And this was like multiple strokes I had to do. And with these, these were all pretty much one-line strokes, which is pretty nice. But the 12-0 does not hold water very well. I do eventually would like to try some more natural bristle brushes. There are 10-0 and 5-0, maybe 10-0, but we'll see. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm just a beginner. However, I did find that I have this pen, calligraphy pen, with the Nico G nib. Okay, see that? Just a regular, I just got it off of Amazon. And I dipped it in some, I brushed some gold gouache onto this, and you can see this is the thickness that I got, and you can see how thin I got that line. And again, in just one stroke, I mean, it's thinner than this 5-0 brush, and even almost the same size. It's even slightly thinner than this Tombow pen. And the thing about the Tombow pen is it's not as black as black gouache, so this is out. But I really like this, and it's so much easier to work with. I mean, it's a pen, it's way easier to work with than a skinny brush. So I really like this one. And by the way, this sheet is actually smooth. It's still not hot press paper, but it's a lot smoother than watercolor paper. I'll have to see which one this is. This is also another Canson paper. I remember it's a mixed media fluid paper. So the what do you call it? The weight of this is very similar. It's a little less than watercolor paper, but it's pretty close and good enough for gouache, since it's not as wet as watercolor, the media, but it's still for fluid. The paper at least is made for liquid media, right? And then so this is basically like a little practice sheet that I do with my colors, and I'll get to this in a little bit, perhaps in another video. Okay. All right. What else did I learn? So I also learned that I am very bad with using these skinny brushes. Okay. What I ended up using, and which I really like, is this brush from, again, Tombow, is the water brush, and this is the really skinny one. This is the smallest tip that they had, and you know what? This actually worked out really well for everything, pretty much anything and everything, and even these little hearts that you see here. See these little hearts? It worked out really well for pretty much, like I said, everything. And I have this brush in 2 slices. So there's this one, a bigger one, and then there's one that's flat, rectangular type brush. And I like all 3 of them. Only thing I don't like is cleaning them, because what happens is when you load up the brush and you're using it just one color, and then you try to go back into another color, but then what happens is the color soaks up into the cartridge that's inside here, and it kind of just stays. So you have to really deep clean the brush every time you change the color. Okay, you can't just dip it and change it like you would a normal brush. You have to fill it up in here, then you gotta put it in here, and then you gotta sit here and squeeze it out to get, to clean out the cartridge inside, or the sponge, I guess, whatever that is. So that's the only thing I don't like about this one, but it worked really well. Okay, and I like, because you see it's got that spring, and it just holds that point, and it just holds the shape really well. So I really like this one. I'll have to see if I can find an actual paintbrush that I like as much as this one, that can, that has the properties that I'm looking for here. So I'll have to look into that to see if I can find something. Probably synthetic would work best, I think, rather than a natural bristle brush. Okay. All right. So that was one thing. That was one other thing. Another thing that I learned was so this is what I used. Okay. This is amazing. This thing is like the best thing ever. This is like a little collapsible water holder container. Come on. Collapsible, and this thing just sits right. If I can get it in here, that would be nice. Come on. Maybe I should expand it. Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, I have to do this side first. Okay. So you see this, and then it like. Oh, that's probably why I wasn't doing it, because I had to lock it away. See, and then the locks it like that. It's pretty cool. Anyways. And then it just comes right out. Now fill it up with water and you do it. And then the thing about this is that you see the mica kind of gets stuck in there and it doesn't come off. And I tried getting it off. It's just stuck in there. But anyways, you see this, although I'm working on a different painting, I did fill it up with my regular gouache. Initially when I did this, I filled it up with just the colors, all these colors. I was using the light colors and the dark colors, and the gold. But right now I have all my regular gouache in here at the moment. But if I were to do this again, I would make, because it took me, it was a multi-day painting, so it took me a while to do this. I worked on it slowly. So anyways, this palette is awesome. It does keep it wet, or at least moist for quite a while. I've had this for over a month in here, and it's been pretty good. And I do have to re-wet it every time, but because the surface there is getting hard, but it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. The rest of it stays pretty good. I would recommend not putting plain white or zinc white into here. It does that one doesn't do so well in here, so especially if you leave it on in there for like I said, a month or two, even as you're using the colors, if you leave it on in there for too long, it just doesn't do too well. So stay away from putting zinc white in here, but otherwise I really like it. So the outlining, so first thing you do is you go in with gold wash, and I used, let me show you guys, I used Windsor. So like I said, this was my first time doing this, and I used, for the gouache, I used this Windsor gouache set, okay, because I really wanted this color, this ultramarine blue for the background. Okay, and then for the gold, I used this one Windsor Newton gold gouache, and I do not like this gouache at all. It's not very reflective. It's a black gold gouache. Okay, you can see the swatch. I did swatch it right here in the corner. You can see it's not super reflective. However, this one might be more reflective, and I'll get into that later why. But this one might be more reflective than what you see in here. You see that? Yeah, but I'll get into that why, because I put something on top of it. So anyways, this is what I used. Okay, now the other thing I learned is when I was doing the ultramarine blue background, you can see, I don't know if you can see kind of how patchy it is. Okay, it's really hard to see, I know, but you can kind of see it there a little bit, because that might be something else. But if you look at it like here, you can see how it's a little bit patchy. So I did learn that what you have to do is, if it is a bit patchy like this, you mix it with a little bit of zinc white, enough that patchiness goes away and becomes opaque and flat, so anyways, I should have done that Okay. Because initially it doesn't look that patchy, but what I did once I was finished with the whole thing is I went in with this Dorland's wax medium because I wanted to see, you want to try and preserve this, right? You know, squash, you accidentally drop a little bit of water and next thing you know is ruined. So anyways, this does work pretty well, you know, although to be honest I didn't test it with water. I don't know why. I should have. But anyways, it does feel pretty cool. You can feel the wax layer on it. It does dry out, you know, after a couple of days, like usually even after a day or so, it does dry out pretty well. It kind of sets, you know. So I really I like this in that sense. However, when you do this, it really enhances the patchiness of that ultramarine blue, and it looks not very good. Okay, I do not like that one bit. You can see it just yeah. So anyways, lesson learned for next time: use ultramarine blue mixed with a little tiny bit of zinc white, okay, to get rid of that patchiness. And I did try it out like you know, on a separate sheet, and it did work pretty well. And it didn't change the color. It didn't make this like a pastel. It preserved the color of ultramarine blue, but it just made it more opaque, and or it did make it opaque, and like I said, not patchy looking. Okay. And so I think that's it. And then, like I said, so I wasn't happy with the gold, but I did try it out. I did get another coat paint, so I'll be trying that out. So I will see you guys in my next video. I have some exciting things to talk about. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And please join me my journey to learn more tezhip and painting, and you know, maybe even designing some. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.